Hey everyone, it's Timid Falconite, and I'm back with another episode of Road to 1K. Today's episode is going to cover this Tier 2 High Funds match versus AWBW Man on Beach Nation Vacation. I believe I've covered this map at least one time before on the channel, but I'll go over it briefly here again. So what you have here is your 2 base side and then your 1 base side, and then you've got the airport as well that comes into play later on. Well, it's something that you sort of want to prioritize as well, because getting up, you need to make sure that you're getting it at least when your opponent is getting it, because your units are a big, important thing in high funds. So, excuse me, I just had this annoying cough all morning. Anyways, yeah, you're going to be wanting to get the airport pretty early on if you can. The other thing that you're going to want to prioritize, potentially, is blowing up in this pipe seam. Max can do it by himself day-to-day without any comm towers. Von Bolt and Hawk can't. So... well, there's only one comm tower and it's locked behind this. So Max has a very good niche here. I guess Eagle does as well in Tier 1. But Max especially has a very good niche here. I guess Sensei in Tier 1 actually isn't that bad with Battle Coppers either. Let's see here. The thing is, like, if you're using Battle Coppers to blow open the pipe seam, like, even Max, it takes him it takes him a while, like more than 4 turns. So it takes him 5 turns with Battle Coppers to blow this open. So that's turns that you could be swarming your opponent with them. So honestly, I don't think it's the best idea to do that. You could do Battleship maybe, but that's expensive. You could do Artillery, but that'll take too long to get to the front maybe. I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you pick a rocket, it'll take 2 turns to get to this spot. But you could do a rocket there, and then a rocket isn't like the worst thing. You could also do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can get one from this base actually as well to blow that open if you want. And then you have a rocket as well. So I'd say the rocket's probably a decent play as well if you're not playing Max. Otherwise, wait until your opponent builds a Neo Tank, then you have an excuse to build a bomber, and then you can just blow that open nice and easily. Eagle as well. You can use the bomber strat for... So this is the tier list for this. For tier 2, that includes Andy, Drake, Max, and Von Bolt. And the top tier. My opponent picked Sasha, and to be fair, Sasha is like still pretty good on this, even against Max. So this was a very annoying thing to deal with, just having Sasha market crash continuously. But that's sort of another reason why you pick Max, is because it allows you to have the Sasha counterplay. In theory, I don't know. Sasha's, like, she only gets an extra 100 per property, but that still adds up a lot on high funds maps, especially because high funds maps tend to have a lot of properties as well, in addition to being double income. So there's just a shitload of money on a lot of these maps. I believe day-to-day, the average is going to be 46. Yeah, 46k each. So that's an extra 2,300 for Sasha, which isn't... It's not insignificant, to be honest. It's basically an extra property, to be honest. So it's not like the biggest thing in the world, but to be fair, on standard... it's still only like an extra property or 2 as is. So if you're at a stalemate, that is something that can make or break the thing. In addition to that, she's got fantastic day-to-day because she can spam her normal power, so that's basically an extra plus 10/10 every day. And she's denying her opponent their power as well all the time. So that's the Sasha thing. I think Sasha's very usable in high funds. I feel like tier 3 is maybe a little bit underselling her, because she is able to just spam her little power, especially if there's like expensive engagements going on every turn. Even if she doesn't have any money at the start of her turn, in order to use her power, she's gonna have it by the end of it. So while my opponent did pick someone a tier below what we're playing in, I do believe it's actually relatively warranted to pick her. That being said, let's go ahead and get started with looking at the replay finally. So obviously going for infantry builds to begin with. Pretty standard stuff here. I'm going to point out how we're approaching the airports though in a bit. Okay. I love how it's just jumping past my opponent's turn. Ah, well, whatever. We don't need to see it anyways. I'm not sure if it's like a replay issue or what, but whatever. So I'm already starting out with a tank chain down here. That's pretty effective as max, and then I got another tank chain and then started on the left a little bit as well. Okay, so my opponent goes Neo Tank pretty early on here. Sort of to stop my tank spamming in this corner. So I believe what I do here is I go for... Well, I go pretty aggressively against this because like that's her tank. So I'm interrupting this very effectively. I'm basically walling out her tank. I'm gonna have to deal with the Neo tank in a second here. And then I go for the recon as well because I do want to keep my vehicle count up as high as possible, and I'm max. So max recons aren't actually that bad on high funds because they do a lot of damage and they're relatively cheap. So very good at dealing with like infantry. And if there's a Neo tank on the field, they're basically as effective as a tank against that. Not quite, because tanks can tank Neo tanks in theory, depending on how everything is going, but whatever. Wait, hold on a second. Yeah, it's a 50-50 win rate, so no like first, second turn advantage or anything. So he went in and first struck my tank there, but like, there we go. I've got enough for a Neo tank now, so I'm able to do stuff here pretty easily here. He can't really attack into me at this point because Neo tank into tank only does like 70-ish% damage on the city. Well, I mean, he could. So what he could do here, if you wanted to, is go Neo tank, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attack with the tank into there to finish him off, and then move in with the infantry. The only issue with that is like I'm just gonna kill the infantry and then get the first trick on the Neo tank with my Neo tank. So like whatever. And he recognizes that, so he's actually going rockets here, which is an interesting move, I think. I think it's actually pretty decent, to be honest. But I don't know. And she does have a little bit more money than me, which is allowing her on this map. What's kind of annoying about that is it's giving her like this perfect medium where she's able to afford a lot of stuff, whereas I'm not really able to afford everything that I want to afford here. So that's something that's going on. I move in with my infantry, I move in with my weakened tank to basically neuter this tank so that I don't have to deal with it anymore. I move in like that with my tank there to cut off... Well, I don't even know why I'm moving in like that. I guess I'm trying to cut off something or other. I don't know. I feel like that might have been... Oh, you know why? It's so that I can thread in the rockets with it. So he's going to have to build something to deal with my tank now. Or just send this guy back to attack this, in which case I get the first strike with my Neo tank. So that's actually like perfectly fine here. I mean, I'm backing up my Neo tank with a second Neo tank, so even if he wanted to go for the attack into the Neo tank in the city, which would be... I don't think it would be very good. Yeah, it'd basically be... It'd basically be a losing engagement because I'd get the heals after that. And the damage is even. So I don't think I even needed to build the Neo tank there, but I'm going for it anyways. And then I'm just getting more infantry. Because I am tied with tanks on the left side here with her. And I've got a recon that I'm moving in as well a little bit. So he did decide to go for the attack like there. Neo tank's out of range. Rockets would get a free shot off here. So that could be annoying. Take out his infantry there. Take out his infantry there like that even. And then honestly, I probably should have gone for the first strike there. Because I've got max firepower, so 46 into there. It's like a decent engagement. But to be honest, yeah, that would have been a good engagement because I'm going to lose this tank next turn anyways because this guy's going to be able to pivot back here, I think. I actually finished that off with Neo tank of all things. That's interesting. And then I'm just guarding this way with my infantry and stuff. So I'm not actually going in here because I don't really want to be in rockets and missiles range. But this is also allowing me to wrap around with my Neo tank if I need to deal with the rockets. Which is smart. I'm following back again with the recon because it can't really deal with this tank by itself, and then this will allow me to maybe wrap it around to deal with the rockets, and then I'm going for another yet another Neo tank here. Because I can afford it and a tank now at this point. So another skip. Yeah, okay. Unfortunately, they popped their power, so that means I'm not going to be able to move in with this guy into this city like I might want to, so I can't really attack right now, especially considering they have their defense up because of the power. Right now they don't really have enough for one, but whatever. So I'm moving in with the tank there. I think I joined there. There might be a glitch. I'm not sure, but I've got both my tanks, Neo tanks, sort of in place to deal with this guy if he decides to move in. This guy may be a little bit too far. Well, I've got 30 actually at this point, so he's got his Neo tank there. I've got the bomber to deal with his Neo tank with another one of his Neo tanks now. So he goes fighter, obviously, fighter, anti-air even. He's going to grab this property, I think. And I'm behind quite significantly on income for right now. The thing is, I'm going to be able to take a few properties this turn. So one... Okay, looks like I bombed that with the bomber. Going in there, actually. That's kind of aggressive. Oh, you know why? I think I might have been trying to go... Okay, that's decent, I think. Yeah, I think that's decent. So I got a fighter. It's gonna refresh here. So I blew up in the pipe seam there with my bomber, landed the infantry to start going for the comm tower, and I did that with the black build actually, mainly because I could afford it for one. And then for two, I didn't really have time to build a transport copter, to be honest. I didn't have the time to do that, at least the build time. So that would be why I'm using the black boat here. It's a little bit more expensive than a transport copter, but it does the job basically the same way. So I think it ends up being fine. Okay, so we skip there. He doesn't actually take out my Neo Tank even, which is fantastic for me. But he is blocking my Neo Tank with his fighter, which is kind of funny. But I get a couple more caps here, so I'm actually ahead in income now. Take out the rockets, like, well, get a good first strike on the rockets there. Move in like that so that I'm out of range of this guy, I'm out of range of this guy. We can't really interrupt this with the Neo tanks, so that's pretty decent. This guy can't hit either of my Neo tanks. This guy can hit both of them, but like whatever. I joint capped the tanks fair actually. That's interesting. So I've got the Neo tank in the back here on defense, sort of. And then I'm guarding my air units with mainly infantry, I guess. But we're in striking distance of a lot of this stuff now. And then I go for yet another Neo tank here. And then I'm giving up on this property. Because at this point, I'm like... And I mean, if he flips one property, it's not the end of the world here. So he moves in on this property, looks like. He gets a couple of shots off here, and then he's got a carrier, actually. Which, that was annoying, but honestly, like, its range isn't that good, honestly. So I don't think it's going to end up mattering too much. But we'll see. So I move in like that to do a little bit of extra damage. Oh, you know why? So I did that specifically to be able to get a max force off. Because I've been like really low on meters entire time because of that. So get the max force off. Push in there. Get a decent first strike there. Move in kind of aggressively like that. I mean, it's out of range of the carrier, so he's gonna have to move in against this guy specifically if he wants to, which he can. He can do. Excuse me. The only issue is, like, I've got this carrier locked in the port, so it's not going to be moving at all, which means I can deal with it a lot more easily here. Especially since my bomber is going to be... Well, honestly... It's going to make its way into range of the carrier here in a second. So I'm joint capping there, but I am falling back here because I can't really stay on this for right now. He did take out one of my Neo tanks here, so I'm going to have to deal with that in some way. I'm getting a good amount of work off here with the Recon plus Neo tank here because, I mean, there's not much he can do to move in here right now. So, at least against that. I get a little bit of extra chip against that guy, actually, which I thought was a nice little bit of tech. And then I go for another Neo tank over here on the left, and more infantry and another fighter. I'm going to keep on spamming fighters here for a while here, just to get control of the air, basically. So, let's see here, what fighter here? Yeah, that was a very good turn for my opponent. As you can see here, down 5 units, down like 50k. But that's only about a turn's worth of income, so this is still like doable. I can still come back from this pretty easily. Let's see. So I'm moving in with my fighters a little bit, basically trying to zone out the bomber is the main thing here. Go in against the Neo tanks and stuff, get some good damage there. So I've basically overwhelmed him in this area here. I'm taking a couple things here with just Well, caps. I'm getting a couple caps off here. So I pivoted entirely away from this side, and now I'm just dominating on this side. On his, what should probably be his strong side, honestly. And I'm safe to just attack like that with the fighter there, because without fearing this anti-air at all, because this anti-air actually can't reach this space while this while the carrier is locked into a port. So yeah, and then I go anti-air, battlecopter, neo-tank. Mainly because I can afford it. I want to start chewing through his infantry a little bit here, so tanks aren't like as useful as they might have been earlier. And then I'm just going basically full defensive mode on this side right now, because that's where his neo-tanks are at. Well, at least his remaining neo-tanks. So he moves in. Again, I'm not even sure how he moves in here. He actually doesn't finish off my fighter here, which I thought was weird, because I would have figured that, like, he had plenty of fighters in the area too. If he wanted to, he could do stuff there, but I guess he's just staying back for the time being, which is whatever. He's popped his power again, which is fucking annoying, but like, what are you gonna do? So take out his bomber with the fighter. It's a fantastic trade, honestly. Take out the artillery and the anti-air and the... Yeah, I'm just basically dominating this entire area at this point. Moving up the battlecopter as well. Got a decent little infantry line going here. I've got things backing everything up here, so it's not like the end of the world. And I'm going for caps here if I can get them, but I think the end of the day here doesn't really matter too much. Now the anti-air would have been in range of my fighter here, so I'm just move this way to harass his battlecopter a little bit. Because I think I'm out of range. Well, actually, I'm still in range of his carrier, so I wonder what he's going to do with that. Nah, he moves it out, obviously. Pops his power. I think he took out a couple of my fighters here. Not that it matters too terribly much, because I've got counterplay for that here. So just continue bullying him with my neo-tanks in this area. Take out that fighter. Honestly, what I should have done here was... I'm not sure what to do with the armor. Okay, I moved in against the artillery. And I mean, I'm going to be able to protect it, I think, with my units here. But what I should have done was just bomb this guy, maybe, I think. Well, actually, I'm not sure. Damage-wise, would that have worked? Actually, that wouldn't have worked. Okay, that's why I didn't do that. That would explain it. Yeah, I think just taking out more of his units there is probably the correct play here. And I'm moving in with like neo-tanks and everything in this area, so actually getting a good push in here. I've got my infantry lined up to start capping his properties. Potentially even though we're in range of a lot of indirects at this point. So he moves in. He's got another neo-tank there, so it's going to be kind of annoying to move in here. Oh, he did actually manage to get through there. That's why... Yeah. So I think what happened here was... Oh yeah, all he had to do was take out that tank, I think. I took out the neo-tank, took out the tank, and then was able to move in with his fighter there. So that was a very good turn for him. But like ultimately, it's not going to matter too much here. And I am just overextended a little bit in this area at this point, so. But like what that's going to do is it's basically going to make me need to build another bomber at some point here, just to put pressure on him. Yeah, so another bomber, another neo-tank for infantry. And we're basically where we were at the start of this turn. Which is basically a stalemate still. So he moves in like that. keeps on attacking this guy annoyingly. We're at day 18. Okay. Well, 19. Whatever. So I retreat with that guy, take out the fighter, finally, getting rid of that annoying prick. Take out the rockets finally, which I think was a big push here. I think it was a big deal, honestly. This guy's out of range of the fighter, right? Yep. Yeah, then I've got helicopter, mainly anti-air I have around at this point, because I don't really need to deal with a fighter spam at this point, honestly, as much. So he's just hanging out with a fighter in this area for right now. This guy's going to give his cap off, so we're going to be actually even on income for a little bit here. I take out the infantry with the Neo-Tank there specifically so that I can basically take out his bomber with the anti-air there. So that guy's just double with at this point, right? And then I move in like that with the fighter. I might have even wanted to move in against this guy and attack him, because that could have been okay. Oh, wait, he's got the carrier in port, actually. That's why I didn't move in. This carrier actually has been putting in a lot of work for my opponent here. Honestly. But I do have the bomber in this area to start dealing with his fucking Neo-Tank spam in the left here. Like, he's got 4 or 5 of them at this point. So he pops his power, moves in here. But he does have just like a Neo-Tank line here, so like whatever, you know. But I do have enough for another max force here though, so I'm just gonna be able to move in like crazy here. So I join cap there, take out the fighter because I'm out of range of that guy now. Take out a Neo-Tank, take out an infantry. Get a decent first strike there. Get a decent first strike there. Stop that cap, importantly, I guess. Honestly, he's got enough anti-air in this area where it's not going to be... He can still deal with this stuff, though, so... It's not like the biggest push in the world. But it was like a decent push, honestly. Not the best, but whatever. So he moves in here, obviously. Takes a good amount of my stuff out here in retaliation. But I'm able to start moving in here. I mean, sort of. He's got the artillery here still, so that's annoying. As usual. I'm still able to do a good amount with my bomber still, so just keep on harassing his Neo-Tanks with it, you know. Pop max force again, so I'm able to get a good amount of damage done on this guy. I think he's actually, yeah, he's dropped to 1. And he's locked in the harbor again, which is kind of important. Got battlecopters moving in here, so now since all of his anti-air is gone, I could just move in for free against his artillery and his Neo-Tanks with battlecopters. Moves in like that. He's got more anti-air, obviously, but like I can push in now because he's moving in a little bit more here, so I'm able to actually... I'm less overextended now at this point, whereas I was very overextended when I was dealing damage over there, right? So this bomber is putting in a lot of work, actually. Still being able to do like 2 or 3 damage at a time to these Neo-Tanks it's not insignificant, you know. And it's basically for free at this point because I already took out the 1 Neo-Tank with the bomber, so everything after that is just extra money and value on top of that. So I get 2 Neo-Tanks here to get ready for a push over in this area. This guy's running out of fuel. Man, I don't... Okay, he takes out the fighter there. 14 fuel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, he's not going to be able to make it, I don't think. Although, I do have this guy, so... You know, Black Whip strats. Very nice. I take out the artillery. And then I fall back with these guys because I do need to refuel this guy at some point here. And as you can see here, I'm actually starting to get a decent little unit count lead going. So, if not a unit value lead. What's funny is I think I still have most of my money from last turn. Oh, wait, no, that's because their turn just skips by because the replay is busted. So I'm able to resupply this fighter here and save them so they can keep on moving in. Move in like that, take out the artillery. So now this is a very strong push over here at this point. Move back in with the bomber for a second here because he can always just fall back this way if I need to with him, and he's out of range of the black boat for a little bit anyways, so. But yeah, just battlecopter spam, Neo tank spam, stuff like that. So that's his turn. I don't know why. Okay, well anyways, I pop my max force. I can't really tell what he's doing with his turn, but like, whatever. He's gone for the battleship as well now. Lots of indirect spam. To be honest, that's like not the worst idea in the world. It's just like when you're playing against Max, you need to have unit count in order to be able to indirect spam. So if he was doing this a little bit earlier, this might have been better for him. But like at this point, I'm just overwhelming him, you know? So he moves in a little bit here, I guess. I can't even tell at this point. But as you can see here, I'm able to make pretty good groundwork here. I'm about to take this guy as well, so I'm already ahead about a property. I'm about to make that gap even wider, and he's basically forced to decide: do I get the damage on the Neo tank, or do I interrupt the cap and stay in the game for longer here? So we're gonna skip through here again. Gonna get repairs on this guy actually because I didn't have enough money to repair him last turn. And then I also repaired this guy so that he's back at full fuel and ammo and everything. So join cap there, take out the battlecopter, take out the indirects. Like that. Actually getting a shot up against the battleship to make him pay repairs on it. Because at this point, like I'm ahead in income, I'm going to start trying to make it where he starts hurting for income, you know. I've got the bomber ready to move into carrier range, so I'm threatening his navy as well at this point. If you can't interrupt this one, he can maybe interrupt this one, but it's at 3 left, so he can't really interrupt it for that long. So I believe he resigns here, even though it doesn't show it. Yeah, I believe that's a resign. Okay. Cool. Oh, wait. So... yeah, I mean, it was kind of sketchy for a little bit in the middle there. And I think it's mainly because for a while there, I was just pushing a full max style into his deep behind enemy lines. Like, look at how far up I am on his bases here, right? So obviously he's gonna punish me for that. So as soon as I like fell back a little bit and forced him to come to me, and then I like push there and then I fall back a little bit, but then I'm sort of skirmishing as well with the bomber there. But yeah, as soon as I keep on trying to draw him further away from his bases, that's where I start picking up speed here. So, and yeah, once I just got the unit count advantage rolling, it wasn't that difficult to start picking off everything, because especially with like when you have extra firepower as max compared to like Sasha, who it's not like she's weaker than normal, but because she doesn't have a decent day-to-day, I mean, I guess her money and everything is, and her power stall is decent and all, but like at the end of the day, it just delayed the inevitable, right? So that's this High Funds match. I really wish that the replay worked properly and we would be able to see my opponent's turn, but you know, like, whatever. Anyways, that was it for this thing today, I believe. So there was what's annoying is I was going to look at this tier 2 against Sammy, but I don't know where that replay is. So next week's match is going to be this standard tier 1 on Flame Reefed. This is what it looks like. It's A rank standard. So, I mean, it'll be interesting. As usual, transport heavy, so well, it's a decently transport heavy map because you've got this central lane here. You've got black possibilities with that. You got these properties in the corners that you need to send transport to. So it's very obnoxious, honestly. Not my kind of map at all. But yeah. Anyways, if you enjoyed, go ahead and like and subscribe and all that other nonsense. And I will see you guys next week for the next one. So see you then.